How to Fall in Love with Psychology, 15 Undisputed Tricks. Stoicism. Have you ever wondered how some people manage to build deep connections, navigate relationships effortlessly, and seem more in tune with themselves and others? It's not just luck or natural charisma. It's about understanding the principles of psychology through the lens of timeless Stoic wisdom. In this video from Stoic in Your Life, we'll reveal 15 powerful tricks that blend psychological insights with Stoic teachings to help you connect better with those around you, and more importantly, with yourself. On this journey, you'll learn techniques that cover everything from mastering your emotions to subtly capturing attention, building trust, and keeping the spark alive in both personal and professional relationships. If you've ever felt lost in the complexities of modern life or sought to improve your interactions with others, these practical, undisputed strategies will be your guide. Don't miss this chance to learn how to transform your approach to relationships and become the kind of person who radiates calm, confidence, and genuine understanding. 1. Genuine smiles. Let's start with a question. When was the last time you saw someone smile at you and it made your day just a bit brighter? There's a reason why a genuine smile can have such a profound impact. It's not just a simple gesture. It's a powerful tool that communicates warmth, confidence, and sincerity. In Stoic philosophy, Marcus Aurelius said, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking." A genuine smile is a reflection of that inner state of calm and contentment. When you learn to smile authentically, you're not just showing others that you're approachable, but you're also radiating a sense of inner peace and self-assurance. For men aged 30 to 65, who may often be caught up in the stresses of modern life, managing work responsibilities, family dynamics, and personal aspirations, this simple act of smiling can become a gateway to deeper, more meaningful connections. A genuine smile is like an open door. It invites people in and makes them feel comfortable around you. It says, "I'm happy to be here, and I'm glad to see you." This kind of positivity is contagious, and when you project it, you create an atmosphere that people naturally want to be a part of. Consider this. In our fast-paced, sometimes impersonal world, many people are searching for that sense of connection. When you can offer that connection through something as simple as a smile, you become a beacon of calm and positivity in their day. That's why the great Stoic Epictetus said, "Men are disturbed not by things, but by the views they take of them." A smile helps shift that view, turning a potentially cold interaction into a warm one. Moreover, it's crucial to note that a smile must be sincere to have the desired effect. People are more perceptive than you might think, and they can tell when a smile is forced or fake. An authentic smile involves the whole face, especially the eyes. It's what psychologists call the Duchenne smile, which signals that you are genuinely happy and engaged in the moment. This can make a significant difference, especially for men who are trying to navigate various social settings, whether it's a business meeting, a family gathering, or even a casual chat with a friend. It builds trust because people tend to trust those who appear sincere and warm. Think about the Stoic principle of living in accordance with nature. It means being true to yourself and expressing your real emotions rather than masking them. When you smile genuinely, you're in harmony with yourself and those around you. This small yet powerful gesture can have effects that go far beyond what you might initially perceive. In professional settings, a sincere smile can help break down barriers, set the tone for positive and productive interactions, and create an aura of approachability. People are more willing to engage, share their thoughts, and work collaboratively when they sense a positive energy. In personal relationships, it signals to your loved ones that you care and are attentive, which strengthens bonds and enhances intimacy. For instance, when you meet someone for the first time and greet them with a genuine smile, it sets a foundation of trust and openness, which can lead to stronger connections. There's also a physiological component to this. When you smile, your brain releases endorphins and serotonin, chemicals that act as natural mood lifters, not just for you, but also for those around you. So, a smile is not only an emotional signal, it's a tool for cultivating your well-being. As the Stoic philosopher Seneca said, sometimes even to live is an act of courage. Choosing to smile even on tough days is a simple yet courageous act of defiance against stress and negativity. It shows that you are in control of your mindset, and you can steer your interactions towards positivity. In modern life, where interactions can sometimes feel rushed, automated, or indifferent, a genuine smile is a small, yet profound way to bring humanity back into our daily exchanges. It helps to dissolve tension, invites conversation, and, more importantly, it tells others that you are present and engaged. The next time you're in a social situation, be it a business event, a social gathering, or even just walking down the street, try to let your smile be your starting point. It's a subtle, powerful way to communicate that you are approachable, confident, and ready to engage with the world around you. So, let that be your practice, a small step towards a bigger change. Remember, as Marcus Aurelius said, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. Let your thoughts be ones of openness and warmth, and let your smile reflect that. 2. Active listening. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you had a conversation where you felt truly heard? Not just listened to, but genuinely understood? That's the power of active listening, and it's a skill that can transform every aspect of your life, from personal relationships to professional settings. Active listening goes beyond simply hearing words. It's about picking up on the emotions, the tone, and the unspoken cues that come with what someone is sharing. This means when you're truly engaged, you're showing that you value the other person's perspective. And in a world where we are constantly surrounded by distractions, be it our phones, emails, or simply our racing thoughts, being fully present in a conversation is a rare and valuable gift you can offer. Think about what Seneca once said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." This Stoic insight reminds us of the importance of listening more than we talk, not only because it helps us learn, but because it fosters deeper connections. Consider a scenario. You're at a family gathering, and a relative starts talking about a challenge they're facing at work. You might be tempted to check your phone or think about what you're going to say next. But if you choose to focus completely on them, nodding, maintaining eye contact, and even asking follow-up questions, you're showing empathy and respect. This isn't just polite. It's the essence of what makes people feel valued. In today's fast-paced world, we often rush through conversations, eager to move on to the next task. But what if you paused and allowed the other person to feel like they were the most important part of your day, even if just for a few minutes? How much could that change the way people perceive you? I once heard a story about a successful CEO who made it a habit to actively listen to his employees, regardless of how busy he was. Whenever someone approached him, he would stop what he was doing, put away any distractions, and give that person his full attention. This simple practice built a culture of trust and respect within the company. His employees felt heard, appreciated, and motivated, which naturally improved their performance and loyalty. You see, active listening isn't just about understanding the words being spoken. It's about making a real connection, one that can have a profound effect on both your relationships and your own personal growth. When we engage in active listening, we not only open ourselves up to learning more about others, but we also create a space where people feel safe to share their thoughts and feelings. This is why it's essential to practice listening without the urge to respond immediately. Sometimes the best thing you can do is allow silence to fill the conversation, letting the speaker know you're there, absorbing every word. Think about how often miscommunications arise simply because someone was too eager to reply rather than truly understand. When you master the art of active listening, you reduce misunderstandings, avoid unnecessary conflicts, and show others that you genuinely care about what they have to say. So, what can you take away from this? The lesson here is simple but powerful. Make a conscious effort to be present in your conversations. Whether you're talking to a friend, colleague, or family member, set aside distractions, listen attentively, and engage with empathy. When you focus on truly understanding others, you'll notice a shift in how people respond to you. They'll be more open, more willing to trust, and more inclined to see you as a reliable, caring presence in their lives. This is what Stoicism teaches us: the value of patience, presence, and empathy. Next time you find yourself in a conversation, ask yourself, am I really listening, or am I just waiting for my turn to speak? Practice the former, and you'll find that your relationships, both personal and professional, will become richer and more meaningful. 3. Effective eye contact. Let me ask you this. When you're speaking with someone, do you truly make eye contact, or do your eyes tend to wander around the room, perhaps distracted or avoiding direct connection? Eye contact is more than just a polite gesture. It's a powerful tool that can communicate confidence, sincerity, and understanding. When you hold someone's gaze, even for a moment, it sends a signal that you are fully engaged and present, and that their words are being heard. This simple act can build trust, foster deeper connections, and even influence how people perceive you. As the famous Stoic philosopher Epictetus said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." But listening isn't just about hearing words, it's also about being attentive, and that includes making effective eye contact. Think about a time when you felt truly seen and understood during a conversation. Wasn't it comforting to know that the person was genuinely interested in what you had to say? That's the power of effective eye contact. It conveys more than words ever could, because it speaks directly to the emotions. In today's fast-paced world where distractions are everywhere, maintaining eye contact can be a challenge. Our phones buzz, notifications pop up, and there's always something to divert our attention. But if you can train yourself to hold eye contact when speaking with someone, even for just a few seconds longer than usual, you'll find that people are more willing to open up, to trust, and to engage with you. Have you noticed how politicians, leaders, and speakers use their gaze to connect with the audience? It's not accidental. They understand that a well-placed look can make their words more impactful and credible. In social situations, mastering eye contact can help you build stronger relationships. When you're meeting someone for the first time, maintaining steady but relaxed eye contact shows that you are confident, respectful, and willing to listen. Conversely, avoiding eye contact can make you appear unsure or even deceptive. Imagine a job interview where the candidate fails to meet the interviewer's eyes. It can create a sense of discomfort and uncertainty. However, when you look directly at someone, you convey honesty and strength, and that's a message people naturally respond to. Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic emperor, once said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." This means your inner state reflects in your outward behavior, and the confidence you exude through effective eye contact will paint a positive picture in the minds of those you interact with. Now, it's essential to understand that effective eye contact doesn't mean staring someone down, which can come across as intimidating or aggressive. It's about finding a balance, a natural rhythm of looking at the person, then occasionally looking away to avoid making the interaction uncomfortable. In intimate or serious conversations, maintaining eye contact can show empathy and understanding. If someone is sharing something personal or difficult, being able to look them in the eyes and hold that gaze shows that you are there with them, offering support without saying a word. On the other hand, constantly shifting your gaze can give the impression that you are disinterested, nervous, or distracted. So, how do you practice effective eye contact? Start small. The next time you have a conversation, try to make conscious efforts to maintain eye contact for a few seconds longer than usual. Notice how it changes the dynamic of the interaction. When you're speaking, allow your gaze to move naturally, but keep coming back to the person you're engaging with. This way, you create a sense of connection without making it awkward. It's also helpful to observe people who are skilled communicators, whether they are in public speaking roles or just great conversationalists, and notice how they use eye contact to make their messages resonate. The lesson here is simple. Eye contact is a skill, and like any skill, it can be improved with practice. It's a way to convey sincerity, build trust, and show respect. So the next time you find yourself in a conversation, ask yourself, am I truly connecting with this person, or am I just going through the motions? Because when you master the art of effective eye contact, you're not just engaging in better conversations, you're building stronger, more meaningful relationships. 4. Shared interests. Have you ever noticed how quickly conversations flow when you share a common interest with someone? That's because shared interests create a foundation for connection, understanding, and ultimately, stronger relationships. When two people enjoy the same activities, hobbies, or even ideas, it brings them closer, breaking down barriers that might otherwise exist. The great Stoic philosopher Seneca once said, "We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more from imagination than from reality." In relationships, we often fear distance, misunderstandings, or indifference. But shared interests can help bridge those gaps by giving us a reality where common ground fosters unity. Think of a time when you found yourself chatting easily with someone over a shared passion, whether it was sports, cooking, books, or even a favorite TV show. Suddenly, the conversation becomes effortless, and that mutual interest provides a safe space for both of you to express yourselves freely. This is the magic of shared interests. They open doors to deeper conversations, more genuine connections, and even long-lasting bonds. For men aged 30 to 65, finding shared interests can be a valuable tool, whether it's in their personal relationships or professional settings. When you discover that you have something in common with a colleague, it instantly makes the work environment more comfortable, creating opportunities for collaboration and cooperation. Or perhaps at a family gathering, you connect with your nephew over a love for fishing or cars. These shared moments don't just pass the time. They strengthen relationships in subtle yet meaningful ways. A modern life example could be something as simple as joining a local cycling group or a weekend hiking club. In these environments, you're likely to meet people who share your passion for the outdoors, and that shared interest can become the foundation for new friendships or deeper interactions with people you already know. A neighbor you've only exchanged small talk with could become a trusted friend once you realize you both enjoy hitting the trails every Saturday. But it's not just about leisure activities. Shared interest can also mean engaging in community service, supporting a local cause, or even having similar career goals. When people work towards a common objective, it builds a sense of unity and camaraderie that can be profoundly rewarding. Marcus Aurelius, another renowned Stoic, wrote in his Meditations, "What brings no benefit to the hive brings no benefit to the bee." This emphasizes the importance of finding a common purpose. Just like in a beehive, each individual's effort contributes to a greater whole, and when we engage with others in shared activities, we're not just building individual relationships, but strengthening the community as a whole. For instance, if you and your partner share an interest in cooking, this can become a ritual where you both unwind at the end of the day, trying new recipes, learning from each other, and savoring the meals you've prepared together. It's more than just cooking. It's an act of bonding, a way to communicate without words. However, it's essential to balance shared interests with respecting each other's individuality. You might not always enjoy the same things, and that's okay. What's important is to show interest in the other person's passions, even if they don't align perfectly with your own. For example, your friend might love playing chess while you prefer reading. Taking time to learn a bit about their favorite game can make them feel valued, and who knows, you might even find yourself enjoying it. As Epictetus wisely said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." This is a reminder to be open to learning about others' interests as much as we are eager to share our own. Ultimately, the lesson is clear. Shared interests create harmony, build trust, and encourage more profound connections, whether with friends, family, or even new acquaintances. By seeking out or nurturing these mutual passions, you create opportunities for more meaningful exchanges. So, the next time you find common ground with someone, see it as a chance to grow closer, to learn, and to share. These connections, built on shared joy, can become the cornerstones of lasting, fulfilling relationships. Ask yourself, what shared interests can you cultivate today to bring more warmth and connection into your interactions? Maybe it's time to join that book club, revisit an old hobby, or simply listen and discover what excites the people around you. Because when you find those shared passions, you find a pathway to deeper, more satisfying connections. Thank you for being here with us today. Before we move on to the next part, I just want to take a moment to say how much I appreciate having you as part of our community. Your presence means a lot, and I'd love to hear your thoughts or experiences. If you're not sure what to say, feel free to drop a comment saying, "I am a newbie," if you've just joined us, or "I am Stoic," if you've been with us for a while. Your engagement not only shows that you're here, but also gives us the motivation to keep bringing you this content. Now let's continue this journey together, shall we? 5. Authenticity and transparency. When you hear the word authenticity, what comes to mind? For many, it means being true to oneself, not hiding behind masks or pretending to be someone else just to fit in. Authenticity and transparency are about showing up as your true self, with all your strengths, flaws, and complexities, and allowing others to see the real you. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, once said, "Never esteem anything as of advantage to you that will make you break your word or lose your self-respect." This emphasizes the importance of staying true to who you are, even when it's difficult. Being authentic and transparent in your interactions helps to build trust, deepen relationships, and foster a sense of security because people feel they can rely on you to be consistent and genuine. Think about your own experiences. How do you feel when you're around someone who is genuine, who isn't trying to put on a show or be something they're not? It's refreshing, isn't it? You feel at ease because there's no need to decipher hidden motives or worry about dishonesty. Authenticity is a rare quality, especially in a world that often encourages people to present a polished, edited version of themselves. But when you choose to be transparent, you're making a powerful statement. This is who I am, and I'm comfortable with that. For men between 30 to 65, this can be especially liberating, as it allows them to break free from societal pressures that dictate how they should act, look, or feel. Transparency also means being clear in your communication, saying what you mean and meaning what you say. It's not about sharing every detail of your life, but being honest about your intentions, thoughts, and emotions. Consider a modern-day example: social media. We live in a time where it's easy to curate the perfect image online, showing only the best parts of our lives while hiding the struggles, fears, and imperfections. But have you ever noticed how much more engaging it is when someone shares their real, unfiltered story? It resonates because it feels real, and we're naturally drawn to authenticity. A friend of mine, for instance, decided to start a blog about his journey dealing with anxiety. Instead of pretending that everything was fine, he wrote candidly about his ups and downs. What he found was that people didn't judge him for his struggles. Instead, they related to him, reached out, and even thanked him for being open. This is the power of authenticity. It brings people closer together because it's rooted in truth and shared humanity. Being authentic doesn't mean you have to reveal everything about yourself to everyone. It's about choosing to be honest and real even when it's uncomfortable. When you allow yourself to be vulnerable, you show courage, and that courage inspires others to open up too. Epictetus said, "He who is not a good servant will not be a good master." In the context of authenticity, this can mean that if you're not honest and transparent with yourself, it's difficult to be genuine with others. To be authentic, you must first know who you are, what you value, and what you stand for. This self-awareness is the foundation of real connections because people can sense when you're being sincere. So, how can you practice authenticity and transparency in your daily life? Start by reflecting on your values and asking yourself if your actions align with them. Be willing to admit when you're wrong, and don't be afraid to express your true feelings, even if they're difficult to say. When you communicate, speak from the heart and avoid trying to manipulate or impress. You might be surprised to see how people respond when they realize you're being real. Ask yourself, how often do I hide parts of myself just to fit in or avoid conflict? What would happen if I allowed myself to be more open, more transparent in my interactions? The lesson here is that authenticity and transparency are the keys to meaningful, lasting connections. When you show up as your true self, you give others permission to do the same, creating an environment of trust and mutual respect. Whether in your personal life or your professional relationships, being genuine allows you to navigate challenges more effectively because there's no pretense, no facade to maintain. As you embrace authenticity, remember what Seneca said: "The greatest wealth is to live content with little." It's a reminder that when you strip away the need to impress and simply live in alignment with who you are, you find a greater sense of peace and fulfillment. So the next time you're tempted to hide behind a mask, ask yourself, what's the real value of being anything other than my true self? 6. Positive body language. Have you ever thought about how much you communicate without saying a word? Positive body language is a powerful tool that can influence how others perceive you, shape your interactions, and build deeper connections. It's more than just a smile or a firm handshake. It's about how you carry yourself, the way you use gestures, and even the subtle expressions on your face. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, once said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts," meaning that your inner state reflects in your outward behavior. When you have a positive mindset, it shows in how you present yourself, and this can significantly affect the way people respond to you. Whether you're in a social setting, at work, or even just meeting someone for the first time, your body language speaks volumes. Think back to a time when you were at a gathering and someone entered the room with an open posture, a relaxed smile, and steady, confident eye contact. You likely felt drawn to them, right? That's because positive body language creates an atmosphere of warmth and approachability. It signals to others that you are friendly, open, and ready to engage. On the other hand, closed-off gestures like crossed arms, avoiding eye contact, or a tense posture can send a message that you are defensive, disinterested, or even unapproachable. But what if you could consciously use your body language to make people feel more comfortable, more understood, and more connected to you? That's the real beauty of positive body language. It's a skill that you can practice and develop, and it makes a tremendous difference in both your personal and professional relationships. Let's take a modern example from the workplace. Imagine you're in a meeting, and you're presenting an idea to your team. If you stand confidently, make eye contact, and use open, engaging gestures, your colleagues are more likely to listen and take your ideas seriously. It conveys not only that you believe in what you're saying, but that you respect your audience enough to present your ideas clearly and confidently. Now think about how it feels when someone talks to you but avoids eye contact or fidgets nervously. It's hard to trust or engage with them, isn't it? Positive body language not only makes you more persuasive, but also more trustworthy. As Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." In a way, your body language is a reaction that reveals your state of mind, and mastering it allows you to present yourself with calmness and confidence, no matter the situation. Even in your everyday interactions, small adjustments in your body language can lead to big improvements. For example, leaning in slightly when someone is speaking shows that you are genuinely interested in what they are saying. Mirroring their gestures subtly can make them feel understood and in sync with you. Maintaining an open posture, like keeping your hands visible and your arms relaxed, indicates that you are receptive and willing to engage. It's about creating an unspoken connection that makes others feel at ease around you. But be mindful not to overdo it. The key is to be natural and authentic. Forced smiles or exaggerated gestures can come across as insincere, which can have the opposite effect of what you intend. So how do you practice positive body language? Start by becoming more aware of your habits. Notice how you stand, where your hands are, and what your face is expressing. Do you tend to cross your arms or avoid eye contact when you're nervous? Are there times when you speak without really engaging your audience? By paying attention to these details, you can begin to adjust and improve. The next time you find yourself in a conversation, try opening up your posture, maintaining comfortable eye contact, and smiling genuinely. You may find that the other person responds more warmly, creating a smoother, more pleasant interaction. Positive body language is about more than just looking confident. It's about making others feel seen, heard, and valued. It's a way to express empathy and understanding without even saying a word. As you work on this skill, you'll likely notice that people become more receptive, conversations become more engaging, and your relationships grow stronger. And this ties back to the core principles of Stoicism, living in harmony with others, and understanding the power of your own actions. Remember what Seneca said: we should conduct ourselves not as if we ought to live for the body, but as if we could not live without it. By mastering your body language, you're not just improving how others see you, you're enhancing how you connect with the world. So next time you're in a conversation, ask yourself, what is my body saying and how can I use it to bring more positivity into this moment? 7. Sincere compliments. Have you ever noticed how a simple compliment can completely change someone's day? Sincere compliments are one of the most underrated yet powerful tools we have to connect with others. They do more than just boost someone's mood. They show that you genuinely see and appreciate the person in front of you. Seneca, the Stoic philosopher, once said, "A gift consists not in what is done or given, but in the intention of the giver." A compliment, when given with sincerity, is like a gift. It reveals your attentiveness, thoughtfulness, and respect for another person. It's easy to throw around casual praise, but when you take the time to truly notice something specific and meaningful, that compliment becomes far more impactful. And the best part? It doesn't cost anything, yet it can create lasting positivity. Think about the last time someone gave you a genuine compliment. Maybe it was about your work, your appearance, or even the way you handled a challenging situation. How did it make you feel? A sincere compliment has the ability to lift our spirits and even change the way we view ourselves. But why is that? Because it's a form of acknowledgement, a way of saying, I see you, and I value what you bring to the table. For men aged 30 to 65, who might be navigating careers, relationships, and personal growth, the importance of sincere recognition can't be overstated. Whether you're offering praise to a colleague, a friend, or a loved one, it's a way to build trust and strengthen your connection. It tells people they're not just going through the motions. They're seen, appreciated, and valued for who they are. Let's bring this into a modern context. Imagine you're at work, and you've been working tirelessly on a project. Suddenly, your boss walks over and says, "I really appreciate the effort you put into this. Your dedication shows, and it's making a real difference." That one statement can validate all your hard work and encourage you to keep pushing forward. Now flip that scenario. What if you're the one who notices a colleague's effort? Taking a moment to acknowledge them with a simple, "I noticed how much effort you've put into this project and it's impressive," can make their day and motivate them more than you might expect. That's the power of a sincere compliment. It creates a ripple effect of positivity that extends beyond the moment. But for compliments to be truly effective, they must be sincere. People can easily detect flattery, and when a compliment feels forced or exaggerated, it loses its impact. A genuine compliment is specific. It points out something particular that shows you've been paying attention. Maybe you admire someone's patience, the way they handle stress, or their ability to make others feel comfortable. When you highlight these qualities, you're not just making someone feel good, you're encouraging them to continue being their best selves. As Marcus Aurelius said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." When you consistently think and express positivity, You create an environment where people feel good about who they are, and in return, they bring more positivity into your life as well. A great example of this is in personal relationships. Think about your closest relationships. How often do you express your appreciation to those you care about? It's easy to take familiar faces for granted, but offering sincere compliments can reinvigorate your bonds. Telling your partner, "I really appreciate how you listen to me after a long day," or telling a friend, "I admire your consistency. You always follow through on your promises," are ways to reinforce your connection. In modern life, where we're often rushing from one task to another, these small moments of acknowledgement can make all the difference. So, how can you start incorporating sincere compliments into your daily interactions? Start by being observant. Look for things that stand out to you, things that others might overlook, but are genuinely worth acknowledging. Then, be specific in your compliment. Instead of saying, "You did a good job," try, "The way you handled that situation was impressive. You stayed calm and clear-headed." Notice how much more meaningful it feels. Ask yourself, when was the last time I gave someone a sincere compliment? How did it make them feel? And how did it make me feel? 8. Attention to detail. Have you ever noticed how the smallest gestures can make the biggest difference? That's the essence of paying attention to detail. Whether it's remembering a colleague's favorite coffee order, noticing when someone's having a tough day, or recalling a friend's birthday without the help of social media, attention to detail is a powerful way to show others that they matter. In the words of Marcus Aurelius, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." When you focus on the little things, you're not just paying attention, you're showing thoughtfulness, care, and consideration, which are the building blocks of strong, meaningful relationships. Attention to detail might seem like a small thing, but it's a habit that can lead to big results, both in your personal and professional life. Think about your own experiences. How often has a tiny detail made you feel seen and valued? Maybe it was when your boss remembered a specific point you made during a meeting and brought it up later, or when a friend gave you a gift that perfectly matched your interests. These small gestures tell us that we are not invisible, that someone took the time to notice what we like or what we need. For men aged 30 to 65, paying attention to detail can be a game changer, especially in work environments where it can set you apart as reliable, thoughtful, and professional. When you take the time to notice what others might overlook, it shows a level of care that builds trust and strengthens connections. Whether you're leading a team, managing a project, or nurturing a relationship, the details matter and they can make all the difference in how you're perceived and how effective you are. Take a modern example. Imagine you're running a small business, and you have a loyal customer who always orders the same product. One day they place an order, but you notice they didn't include their usual add-on. You take the initiative to reach out and ask if they forgot, and they thank you for catching it because they'd simply overlooked it. This attention to detail not only helps ensure customer satisfaction, but also builds loyalty, as it shows you care enough to pay attention. Another example could be in your personal life. Remembering to pick up your partner's favorite snack when you're out shopping, or noticing when they seem stressed and offering to lend a hand. It's these little things that deepen bonds, showing that you're attentive, considerate, and invested in the well-being of those around you. In today's fast-paced world, it's easy to overlook the small things, but attention to detail is about more than just catching errors or ticking off tasks. It's about mindfulness and presence. When you are truly present in a conversation or a situation, you notice more, and that's when you start to pick up on the details that others might miss. Stoicism teaches us the value of mindfulness, of focusing on what's in front of us without distraction. As Epictetus said, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. Applying this wisdom to attention to detail means valuing the small, significant aspects of life rather than being swept away by what's big and flashy. So how can you start being more attentive to the details? Begin by slowing down. When you're in a conversation, don't just listen to respond. Listen to understand. Take note of what's being said, and even what's left unsaid. Observe the little cues, like a change in someone's tone or a slight hesitation. These are often the moments that matter the most, where a small act of kindness or acknowledgement can make a huge difference. Ask yourself, when was the last time I truly paid attention to the details around me? What can I do today to show someone that I'm genuinely listening and care about what they're going through? The key takeaway here is simple. Attention to detail is not just a skill, it's a mindset. It's about being present, being observant, and showing that you care in ways that others might not expect. Whether you're at work, at home, or anywhere in between, paying attention to the details can help you build trust, deepen relationships, and find greater fulfillment in your interactions. Remember what Seneca said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." In the same way, it's not the grand gestures that matter most, but the small, thoughtful actions that show you truly see and value those around you. So, take a moment today to notice the little things. You might be surprised at how much of an impact they can make. If you've made it this far, you're truly embracing the path of self-discovery. Drop a comment saying, "I am evolving," to show your commitment to mastering these Stoic principles. Stick around because the journey to deeper understanding is just beginning. 9. Subtle imitation. Have you ever found yourself unconsciously mirroring someone's gestures, tone of voice, or even their way of speaking during a conversation? That's called subtle imitation, and it's a natural, powerful way to build rapport and connect with others. When done intentionally, it can be an effective psychological trick to make people feel more comfortable around you. Subtle imitation, also known as the chameleon effect, is not about mimicking someone to the point of parody, but rather gently reflecting their behavior to create a sense of harmony and understanding. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "We are not disturbed by things, but by the views we take of them." By subtly mirroring someone's behavior, you are adopting their perspective, which makes them feel seen, understood, and respected. This technique can be especially useful in settings where you want to build trust, whether it's during a business negotiation, a friendly chat, or even in personal relationships. Think about it. How often do you feel more at ease with someone who shares your energy, rhythm, and mannerisms? Subtle imitation sends a message that you are on the same wavelength, which naturally fosters a sense of closeness. Let's say you're at a social event and you're having a conversation with someone new. If they're speaking softly and calmly, responding in a similar manner can help create a smoother interaction. Conversely, if you're talking with someone who is enthusiastic and animated, matching their tone and energy level can make the exchange feel more lively and engaging. This isn't about being fake, it's about creating an environment where communication flows more naturally. It's a way of saying, "I'm here with you, and I'm paying attention." A real-world example of this can be seen in the business world. Imagine you're in a meeting and you notice that a client is leaning forward, speaking in a soft but steady tone. By subtly mirroring this behavior, leaning forward and lowering your voice, you convey attentiveness and respect. This can lead to a more productive dialogue, as the client feels understood and valued. Another example could be in a casual setting, like catching up with an old friend. If they tend to nod frequently while speaking, subtly doing the same can show that you're engaged and in tune with what they're saying. These small acts of imitation make interactions feel more connected, and as a result, people are more likely to open up, trust you, and even share more of themselves. But why does this work so well? It's because, as humans, we are inherently social beings, and we like to feel understood. Subtle imitation taps into that desire for connection. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Adapt yourself to the environment in which your lot has been cast and show the restraint of a spirit that loves all things." By mirroring someone's body language, tone, or mannerisms, you are, in essence, adapting yourself to their world. It shows empathy and flexibility, key components in any strong relationship. However, it's important to remember that subtlety is key. Overdoing it can come across as mocking or insincere, which could have the opposite effect. The goal is to blend in just enough that the other person feels more comfortable without even realizing why. So, how can you practice subtle imitation effectively? Start by paying close attention to the people you interact with. Observe their posture, tone of voice, and even the pace at which they speak. Try to match these elements in a way that feels natural to you. If someone is using more hand gestures, it doesn't mean you should start waving your hands dramatically. Instead, try a few gentle gestures of your own. If they're speaking slowly and thoughtfully, consider slowing down your speech as well. The key is to be adaptable and genuine, letting the imitation flow naturally rather than forcing it. Ask yourself, when was the last time you felt particularly comfortable during a conversation? What was it about the other person's behavior that made you feel that way? By reflecting on these moments, you can start to understand how subtle imitation has likely played a role in your own interactions, even without you noticing. The takeaway here is that subtle imitation is a simple yet powerful tool that can enhance your connections with others. It helps build rapport, encourages trust, and makes people feel more at ease. Just remember that, like all effective communication, it requires sensitivity, authenticity, and a touch of finesse. 10. Empathetic communication. Empathy goes beyond listening. It's about stepping into someone else's shoes and seeing the world from their perspective. As Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic philosopher, once said, whenever you are about to find fault with someone, ask yourself the following question: what fault of mine most nearly resembles the one I am about to criticize? This quote reminds us that empathy begins with self-reflection and an understanding of our own imperfections. When we communicate with empathy, we set aside our judgments, focus on the other person's feelings, and create a safe space for open, honest dialogue. This can be incredibly effective, especially for men aged 30 to 65 who might be navigating complex relationships, both personal and professional, where understanding and patience are key. Empathetic communication is not just about saying the right words. It's about how you respond, the tone you use, and the body language you convey. Picture this. You're in a meeting, and a colleague shares their concerns about a project that's not going well. You have two choices. You could brush off their worries and give a quick, "it'll be fine," or you could acknowledge their concern, ask more about what's troubling them, and offer support. The latter approach shows that you care and that you're willing to engage with their perspective. When you take the time to really listen, you're not just solving a problem. You're building trust, respect, and a sense of camaraderie. This is why Seneca wisely advised, one of the most beautiful qualities of true friendship is to understand and to be understood. Empathetic communication is a cornerstone of building genuine relationships because it shows that you value what the other person has to say, even when their views differ from your own. In modern life, where digital communication often leads to misunderstandings, being empathetic can help bridge the gap between words and emotions. Have you ever read an email or a text message and completely misinterpreted the sender's tone? It's easy to miss the subtle nuances of empathy in written communication. This is why it's essential to be clear and considerate, asking yourself if your message conveys the right tone. In face-to-face interactions, empathetic communication means more than just hearing words. It's about observing the speaker's body language, tone, and expressions. If a friend is confiding in you about a difficult time, leaning in slightly, maintaining eye contact, and nodding as they speak are small but effective ways to show that you're present and engaged. It tells them, "I'm here and I care about what you're going through." To practice empathetic communication, start by actively listening. Too often we listen with the intent to reply rather than to understand. When you're having a conversation, resist the urge to immediately offer solutions or steer the conversation back to yourself. Instead, ask open-ended questions like, "How did that make you feel?" Or, "What do you think would help?" This invites the other person to share more deeply, and it lets them know you're truly interested in their thoughts and emotions. It's not about having all the answers. Sometimes the most empathetic thing you can do is simply be there. offering a compassionate ear. As Epictetus said, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. This Stoic wisdom highlights the importance of listening more and speaking less, especially when someone is reaching out for understanding. Another critical aspect of empathetic communication is recognizing that everyone has their own struggles, even if they're not always visible. In today's busy world, we often rush through interactions, forgetting that the person on the other side might be dealing with challenges we know nothing about. By approaching conversations with empathy, we create an environment where people feel safe to express their true selves, free of judgment. For example, if a colleague seems irritable or distracted, instead of jumping to conclusions, consider asking, "Is everything okay? You seem a bit off today." This opens the door for them to share if they wish, and it shows that you're attentive and considerate. Small gestures like this can make a significant difference in how connected and supported someone feels. The key takeaway here is that empathetic communication is about understanding rather than just responding. It's about being patient, putting yourself in the other person's position and acknowledging their feelings. This doesn't mean you have to agree with everything they say, but it does mean that you respect their right to feel the way they do. In a world that often prioritizes quick fixes and surface-level interactions, taking the time to practice empathy can set you apart. 11. Creating shared routines. Have you ever noticed how small, regular habits can bring people closer together? Creating shared routines is one of the most effective ways to strengthen relationships, whether it's with family, friends, or colleagues. It's about finding those little rituals that allow you to connect on a deeper level. And over time, these routines build a sense of stability, comfort, and trust. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." This wisdom reminds us that actions speak louder than words, and shared routines are actions that consistently show you care. They provide opportunities to engage, communicate, and share experiences, making the bond stronger each day. For men aged 30 to 65, who may often juggle work, family, and other commitments, establishing routines can be a way to maintain balance and build lasting, meaningful connections. Think of a simple example: a father who makes it a point to have breakfast with his children every morning before heading off to work. This small routine might not seem like much, but it creates a space for conversation, laughter, and connection at the start of each day. Over time, it becomes a cherished part of their relationship. It's the same in friendships or partnerships. Maybe it's a weekly coffee with a friend, a Sunday evening walk with your partner, or even a Friday night movie tradition. These shared activities become anchors, something to look forward to, and they bring a sense of regularity and warmth to our often busy and unpredictable lives. Consider how this plays out in the workplace. A team that starts each week with a brief check-in meeting, where everyone shares their goals and a bit about their weekend, develops stronger connections over time. It's not just about the work. It's about understanding and supporting each other as individuals. These routines foster trust and collaboration because they remind everyone that they're not just colleagues, they're part of a team that genuinely cares about each other. Seneca said, "The whole future lies in uncertainty. Live immediately." In other words, find ways to engage and connect in the present moment because those small, consistent efforts are what lead to lasting relationships. But why are shared routines so powerful? It's because they signal commitment. When you make time for a shared activity, you're essentially telling the other person, "You matter to me, and I'm willing to make this a priority." This is especially important in a world where our schedules are packed and distractions are everywhere. Taking time out to engage in a routine with someone else shows intentionality and care. For instance, a couple that makes it a habit to go on a walk together every evening might find that it's not just exercise, it's a time to decompress, share thoughts about their day, and reconnect. It's this consistent engagement that keeps the relationship healthy and thriving. So, how can you create more shared routines in your life? Start small. Think about the people you want to connect with more deeply, and consider what activities you both enjoy. It could be as simple as a daily phone call to check in with a loved one or a weekly game night with friends. What's important is consistency. Even when life gets hectic, maintaining these little rituals can provide comfort and stability. Ask yourself, when was the last time you truly made time for a shared activity with someone important to you? What routine could you establish to bring more connection into your relationships? The lesson here is that shared routines are about more than just repeating an activity. They're about building a sense of togetherness. They act as a reminder that amidst the chaos of daily life, there's something steady, reliable, and meaningful to hold on to. Just as Epictetus said, wealth consists not in having great possessions but in having few wants. The wealth of a relationship lies not in grand gestures, but in the simple, consistent moments of connection. So look for ways to create these routines in your life. Whether it's a shared morning coffee, a regular lunch date, or a weekend hobby, let these small acts strengthen your bonds. Because at the end of the day, it's these routines that add richness, comfort, and a sense of belonging to our lives, making the relationships we treasure feel more grounded and enduring. 12. Showing vulnerability. When was the last time you allowed yourself to be truly vulnerable with someone? Showing vulnerability can be one of the hardest things to do, especially in a world that often encourages us to keep our guard up and maintain a facade of strength. But there's a quiet power in being open, honest, and real about your feelings, struggles, and imperfections. As the Stoic philosopher Seneca once said, "Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end." When we let our guard down and show our true selves, we open the door to deeper connections and stronger, more authentic relationships. Vulnerability is not about weakness. It's about courage. It takes bravery to share your fears, admit your mistakes, and let others see you as you are, without pretenses. Think about how you feel when someone opens up to you about their challenges or insecurities. It doesn't make you think less of them. In fact, it often makes you respect them more because they trusted you enough to share something deeply personal. This kind of honesty creates a safe space where real, meaningful connections can flourish. For men aged 30 to 65, showing vulnerability can be particularly challenging due to societal expectations around masculinity, which often dictate that men must always appear strong and in control. But being vulnerable is not about losing control. It's about being true to yourself and allowing others to see that truth. By sharing your authentic self, you give others permission to do the same, which can lead to richer, more fulfilling relationships. Consider a story from modern life. A successful manager at a fast-paced company was known for his unwavering composure and professional demeanor. But one day, he decided to share with his team the stress and pressure he felt during a difficult project. He admitted that there were moments when he doubted himself and felt overwhelmed. Instead of losing their respect, he gained it. His team began to see him not just as a leader, but as a human being who, like them, had fears and insecurities. This honest admission brought the team closer together, and they rallied around him, knowing that it was okay to admit when things were tough. This is the power of vulnerability. It builds trust, fosters empathy, and brings people closer. Vulnerability doesn't mean you have to reveal every detail of your life to everyone. It's about finding the right moments and people to share your true self with. It can be as simple as admitting you don't have all the answers or expressing how you truly feel about a situation. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." Part of being a good person is being honest, and honesty often requires vulnerability. When you're open about your feelings, it allows others to feel more connected to you because they see that you're not perfect, and neither are they. This shared understanding can create a bond that's deeper and more meaningful than any surface-level interaction. So, how can you begin to show more vulnerability in your everyday life? Start by letting go of the need to appear flawless. Recognize that everyone has fears, doubts, and weaknesses, and it's okay to share them. When you're in a conversation, try to be more open about what you're feeling, even if it's uncomfortable. Ask yourself, when was the last time I allowed myself to be truly vulnerable with someone? What held me back? And what could happen if I chose to let my guard down a little more? By reflecting on these questions, you can start to embrace vulnerability as a strength rather than a weakness. The lesson here is simple but profound. Vulnerability is the key to deeper, more authentic relationships. It allows you to connect on a level that goes beyond the surface because it's rooted in honesty and trust. As Epictetus said, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. In relationships, the true wealth comes not from how polished or impressive we appear, but from how real and open we are willing to be. The next time you're tempted to put up a wall, remember that showing your true self can be one of the bravest things you can do. It's a way of saying, "This is who I am, and I'm not afraid to be seen." And in doing so, you invite others to share their true selves, creating a space where real connections can thrive. So, dare to be vulnerable and see how it transforms your relationships and your life. Thank you for being here and joining us in today's video. I'm curious which of these Stoic principles resonates with you the most, or have you applied any of these tricks in your life? Feel free to share your thoughts, experiences, or questions in the comments below. If you're not sure what to say, simply drop a comment saying, "I am learning to be more stoic." Your engagement is always appreciated. 13. Being creative on dates. Let me ask you this. When was the last time you did something truly memorable on a date? Being creative on dates is about more than just planning a fun outing. It's about showing thoughtfulness, care, and a willingness to step outside of the usual routines to create lasting memories. It's easy to fall into the habit of the same old dinner and a movie, but when you put effort into planning something unique, it shows your partner that you care and are willing to make an effort. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." When you approach dates with creativity, you are painting a canvas of shared experiences that bring vibrancy and depth to your relationship. Creativity on dates doesn't have to mean expensive or extravagant. It's about finding small, meaningful ways to connect and surprise your partner. Think about a couple who decided to spend a Saturday morning volunteering at a local animal shelter. It was a simple, thoughtful idea, but it turned into a heartwarming experience where they not only enjoyed each other's company, but also shared a moment of compassion and joy. This kind of creativity on dates leads to stronger bonds because it's about creating shared memories that are different from the everyday. For men aged 30 to 65, who might be navigating long-term relationships or looking to make a meaningful connection, the importance of this cannot be overstated. It's not just about impressing someone, but about showing that you're willing to invest time and thought into the relationship. Modern life is full of distractions, and it's easy to let relationships slide into routine and complacency. But being creative on dates can breathe new life into your interactions. For example, instead of the usual dinner out, why not try a cooking class where you can learn to make a new dish together, or take a day trip to a nearby town you've never explored before? One couple decided to set up a no-technology picnic in their backyard, complete with a playlist of their favorite songs, homemade snacks, and a telescope for stargazing. It was simple, but it was also an experience that brought them closer, free from the distractions of phones and screens. This creativity doesn't require grand gestures. It's the thought and intention behind the planning that matters most. But why does creativity on dates work so well? Because it disrupts the mundane and invites you both to see each other in a new light. It encourages spontaneity, laughter, and most importantly, the chance to make memories that stand out from the routine. Seneca wrote, "True happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future." By planning creative dates, you're focusing on the present moment and creating an environment where you and your partner can truly enjoy each other's company without worrying about what comes next. It's a way to show appreciation and affection that goes beyond words. So, how can you start being more creative on your dates? Begin by thinking about what your partner enjoys, and look for ways to incorporate those interests into your plans. Do they love nature? Consider a scenic hike followed by a picnic with their favorite foods. Are they into art? Maybe a surprise visit to a local gallery or a pottery-making session could be just the thing. You don't need to be extravagant. The most memorable dates are often the ones where thoughtfulness and a personal touch shine through. Ask yourself, when was the last time I put real effort into planning something special for my partner? What could I do to make our next date a little more memorable? The takeaway is simple. Creativity on dates is about effort, not expense. It's about finding new ways to connect and keep the relationship fresh, exciting, and meaningful. Just like Epictetus said, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. The value of a creative date lies not in how much you spend, but in how much thought you put into making it special. Whether it's a sunset bike ride, a homemade dinner under the stars, or a playful visit to an arcade, it's the experience of doing something together that leaves a lasting impression. So, next time you're planning a date, think about how you can add a touch of creativity. It might just turn an ordinary evening into an extraordinary memory, and that's the kind of connection that helps a relationship grow stronger over time. 14. Leaving an air of mystery. Have you ever wondered why some people captivate your attention and leave you wanting to know more? That's the power of leaving an air of mystery, a subtle yet effective way to spark curiosity and keep relationships intriguing. It's not about being secretive or distant. It's about holding back just enough so that there's always something new to discover. In our fast-paced, overly connected world, where everything is often laid bare on social media, leaving a little to the imagination can be refreshing. As the Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." When you cultivate a sense of mystery, you invite others to engage their thoughts, their curiosity, and their desire to learn more about you. It's like reading a good book. You turn each page, eager to find out what happens next because the story doesn't give everything away at once. Consider this. How often do you meet someone who seems to reveal everything about themselves right away? While there's nothing wrong with being open, sharing too much too soon can sometimes diminish intrigue. Leaving an air of mystery doesn't mean hiding who you are. It means allowing your personality, your stories, and your qualities to unfold gradually, like peeling back the layers of an onion. This approach can be especially appealing for men aged 30 to 65, who may be navigating various social and professional settings. Whether you're on a date, attending a networking event, or even just making new friends, maintaining a hint of mystery encourages others to lean in, ask questions, and stay engaged. It's about balancing openness with a bit of reservation, creating a dynamic where there's always more to learn and discover. Let's bring this idea into a modern context. Think about a musician or artist you admire. Often it's not just their work that draws you in, but the sense of mystery surrounding their creative process. Why did they choose those lyrics? What inspired that painting? The same principle applies to personal interactions. When you share everything up front, there's no journey, no exploration. But when you reveal your interests, thoughts, and experiences in layers, you invite others to go deeper, to be part of that journey of discovery. This doesn't mean playing games or being intentionally vague. It's about sharing parts of yourself in a way that feels natural, making sure there's always more to the conversation. But why does leaving an air of mystery work so well? Because it taps into a fundamental aspect of human psychology, curiosity. As Seneca noted, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Curiosity is fueled by the imagination, and when you give people room to wonder, they engage their minds, which creates a deeper, more lasting interest. Leaving an air of mystery allows others to fill in the gaps with their thoughts, creating a sense of intrigue that keeps them coming back for more. Think of a movie trailer that shows just enough to get you excited, but not so much that it gives away the whole plot. The same strategy applies to your interactions. Be the person who leaves others wanting a little more. So, how can you effectively leave an air of mystery in your own life? Start by not oversharing. It's natural to want to connect by revealing a lot about yourself, but sometimes less is more. Instead of telling every detail of your experiences or opinions, try hinting at them. For instance, if someone asks about your hobbies, instead of listing them all, share one that's a bit unusual or intriguing, then let them ask more if they're curious. This way you're inviting them to explore further, rather than handing everything over at once. Ask yourself, when was the last time I allowed someone to really get to know me, step by step, rather than overwhelming them with everything at once? What could I do differently to create more meaningful, curiosity-driven interactions? The key takeaway is that leaving an air of mystery is not about withholding who you are, but about pacing your story. It's about letting others discover you piece by piece, making every interaction feel like a step further into understanding. As Epictetus wisely said, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. In other words, don't rush to prove everything about yourself. Sometimes holding back can be a sign of confidence and self-assurance. By revealing yourself slowly, you allow others to see the different sides of you at their own pace, which can lead to richer, more layered connections. So the next time you're in a conversation, think about how you can share just enough to keep things intriguing. Let your story unfold naturally and watch how the mystery you create draws people in, making your relationships more engaging, exciting, and enduring. 15. Keeping the passion alive. How do you keep the passion alive in a relationship, especially when life gets busy and routines start to take over? It's a question many people struggle with, but the answer lies in consistent, thoughtful effort. Passion isn't something that just appears and stays on its own. It requires care, attention, and a willingness to rekindle the flames even when it seems like they're burning low. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus said, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. In relationships, the true wealth comes from nurturing the connection, not in chasing grand gestures, but in appreciating and sustaining the little things that make your bond special. Keeping the passion alive is about staying engaged, remaining curious about your partner, and always finding new ways to show you care. Think about the early days of a relationship. There's excitement, novelty, and an eagerness to discover everything about each other. But over time, as familiarity sets in, it's easy to take those moments for granted. And before you know it, the routine has replaced the romance. So, how do you keep that spark going? The key is to make deliberate efforts to stay connected. It could be as simple as planning a surprise date night, sending a thoughtful message during the day, or even just taking a few minutes to really listen, to how their day went. For men aged 30 to 65 who often juggle career demands, family responsibilities, and personal growth, maintaining this kind of passion can be challenging. But it's not impossible, and it's certainly worth the effort. One couple I know made it a habit to take a short walk together every evening, no matter how hectic their day had been. It wasn't about the walk itself. It was about the time spent reconnecting, sharing thoughts, and sometimes just enjoying the quiet comfort of each other's presence. This simple routine kept them grounded and reminded them daily of why they valued their partnership. Such small, intentional acts can go a long way in keeping the passion alive because they reinforce the idea that no matter what else is happening, your relationship is a priority. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Dwell on the beauty of life. Watch the stars and see yourself running with them." Passion thrives when you take time to notice and appreciate the beauty of your connection, to see beyond the mundane and focus on what truly matters. But why does passion sometimes fade, and how can you reignite it? It often fades when routines take over and you stop making an effort to be present. Passion is driven by interest and engagement, so if you're finding it lacking, ask yourself, when was the last time I did something just to make my partner smile? Or when was the last time I showed genuine interest in what they're passionate about? Small gestures can make a big difference. Things like leaving a note of appreciation, planning a spontaneous outing, or reminiscing about your favorite memories together. It's not about grand declarations. It's about the daily, subtle ways you show that your relationship is worth nurturing. So, what can you do to keep the passion alive? Start by being intentional. Make plans, even if they're small, and stick to them. Be curious about your partner, ask them questions, and show that you still want to learn about them, even if you've been together for years. Epictetus said, "He who is not a good servant will not be a good master," which can be interpreted as a reminder that being attentive and responsive in your relationship is essential to keeping it strong. If you serve your relationship with care, attention, and affection, it will masterfully flourish. Also, remember to inject fun and spontaneity into your time together. The everyday grind can dull the excitement, but adding a little unpredictability can keep things exciting. Perhaps it's taking a day trip somewhere new, trying out a hobby together, or simply doing something silly and lighthearted that makes you both laugh. Passion isn't something that magically remains, it's something you actively choose to cultivate. When you make the effort to keep the passion alive, you're not just maintaining a relationship, you're deepening it, enriching it, and ensuring that it continues to grow. Relationships, like anything valuable, need attention and care. As Seneca wisely said, true happiness is to enjoy the present, without anxious dependence upon the future. Focus on what you can do today to bring joy and connection to your relationship, and let that be the foundation on which the passion thrives. So, the next time you're with your partner, think about how you can make that moment count. What small, thoughtful act can you do to show that you care? Because it's these little sparks, consistently lit, that keep the fire of passion burning brightly. As we come to the end of this video, remember that the true power of these strategies lies not just in knowing them, but in applying them with authenticity and respect. By embracing these psychological principles, you can build deeper, more meaningful connections and become the kind of person others are naturally drawn to. So, which of these tips resonated with you the most? Or maybe you've already been using some without even realizing it. Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you're ready to take your relationships to the next level, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell, so you never miss out on more insights and strategies to improve every aspect of your life. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.